Bitcoin is going to eat real estate's lunch. Do you know how big real estate's lunch is right now in the world? After COVID, real estate's lunch size is $326 trillion. And hey, I'm British HODL, and I record these videos because if you're part of the Bitcoin community, I would hope that you join our community and we can help each other grow. And while we're doing that, you got to understand, there's 21 reasons that real estate is going to get killed when it comes to Bitcoin. There's 21 reasons why real estate can't stand up, can't hold a candle to Bitcoin, and I want to go over those right now. Number one is liquidity. Bitcoin is highly liquid. The beautiful thing about having a highly liquid market is that you have no time lag. And as people realize that, they're going to just start getting out of real estate where they're going to sit there for 6 months before something completes and getting more into Bitcoin. The second one is that Bitcoin is borderless. Bitcoin can be bought, held, sold globally without any issues. Try moving your house and selling it in a different country. It's extremely tough, right? Number three is accessibility. Bitcoin can be acquired anywhere in the world by anyone, and that's amazing compared to real estate, which is not possible, because if you want to buy a house right now, you need at least $300,000 or $400,000 to buy the most basic house. Real estate is pricing out all of the young people that are trying to afford, and not even the young people, just people that have had it bad in life, just people that haven't had the right information given to them in life. It's priced all of them out. Secondly is its divisibility. Fourth is its divisibility. Bitcoin is extremely highly divisible. It's got 100 million parts to every Bitcoin. Yes, there are only 21 million Bitcoin, but there's 100 million parts to every one of those 21 million Bitcoin. What does that mean? You can buy Bitcoin, you can buy multiple Satoshis of Bitcoin for less than $1. And that's absolutely amazing because it brings everyone into the ecosystem. Fifth, it's transparency. Bitcoin is completely transparent. I know exactly where the supply of Bitcoin has come from, where it's gone, and where everything is. You don't know if you just drive around the streets of London and go to St. John's Woods and go to all of these areas, Regent's Park. You don't know who owns these properties. You don't know who has this wealth. Bitcoin is extremely transparent, and that's its strength over real estate. Number six, security. Bitcoin is secured cryptographically and it's decentralized. Real estate is not. Real estate is so centralized, and everyone knows who owns it. You can steal with real estate, you can fraud people with real estate, and you can do other types of criminal activity with real estate. You can't do any of these things with Bitcoin. Number seven, transportability. Bitcoin can easily be transported from here in Medellin, Colombia, to London, to Dubai, to New York, to wherever I need to get it to go to. Try doing that with a house. It ain't gonna work. Number eight, decentralization. Bitcoin operates on a decentralized network, meaning that it's not controlled by a single entity or a government. Whereas your real estate, if your government, like you're in Canada and your government thinks, hey, you know what? We don't want any foreigners buying any more properties here. In fact, not only do we not want foreigners buying any property here, we're gonna screw all the existing real estate owners and start issuing a flood of permits for people to start building. You can get screwed by your government. But Bitcoin doesn't have that issue. Number nine is cost efficiency. Transactions in Bitcoin are cost efficient. You can get it. You can own your Bitcoin at a minimal cost to you. With real estate, you want to buy a property, you need a lawyer, you need a mortgage broker, you need somebody to talk to the lawyer, and then you need somebody to talk to the mortgage broker. You need to organize all these different things, and that's before you own the damn property, and then you got to deal with the tenants. So Bitcoin doesn't have that issue. It's cost efficient. You can own it and it's done. And it's done within seconds. So the number 10 is price appreciation. Bitcoin has had a very, very large price appreciation over the last 10 years, and it still has an increase coming because of its adoption. As adoption goes up, because the supply can't be altered, there's always going to be price appreciation. Number 11 is that it's a hedge against inflation. Inflation is going to get bad, it's going to get worse. Inflation's a cycle. Bitcoin is one of those assets that is known as a hedge against inflation, and unfortunately, real estate, because people need to actually live in these damn things, its prices are often tied to the local economy and the level of inflation and everything that's going on in the world. Number 12 is an increase in demand that's coming. As you've seen, adoption rates continue to go up. Everything just continues to go up. There is there is not a period in Bitcoin's history where adoption has slowed down for a consistent period of time. It's never happened. So you've got adoption going up, and that's going to increase the demand for Bitcoin. Number 13, there's no physical depreciation. Unlike real estate, which can physically depreciate over time, Bitcoin is a digital asset. It has no slippage cost. You don't have roofs going missing. You don't have the need to build all these, you know, to suddenly, oh, the government has issued some new regulation. I gotta redo the windows, blah, blah, blah. None of that bullshit when it comes to Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin wins. Number 14, there's the portfolio diversification side of it. So many people have so much of their wealth in real estate that they are over leveraged to one side on real estate. They need diversification in their portfolio, and they're going to look at how to diversify. That increases the demand for Bitcoin, right? And number 15, there's no property management. You know, one of the most annoying things, one of the things that got me out of real estate was a tenant called me. This is when we had no one managing our property. A tenant called me at 11 p.m. at night and said, hey, you know, the light bulb in the bathroom has gone out. Okay, all right, cool. There's a cabinet and there's extra spare light bulbs in there. Just change it. He goes, no, my regulations say you have to come and change them. I had to drive at 11 p.m. at night to go change a fucking light bulb for a tenant because he was too sticky about reading the exact fine print of the rules. And at that point, I decided I'm done with real estate. So you don't have to worry about idiot tenants causing you headaches. You just buy the Bitcoin and that's it. Number 17, there's no physical barriers to entry, right? Bitcoin, you can buy it, sell it, you can do anything that you want anywhere in the world. Whereas with real estate, you've normally got local regulations that are going to stop you getting into real estate or having to do certain things in order to make that real estate viable. And then there's number 18. Bitcoin is more cost effective for passive income. Bitcoin, you can hold it for passive income through lending platforms or that. Now, should you do that today in 2023? Probably not. But in the future, will more and more platforms, more and more services come out to allow you to earn an income by owning Bitcoin? Absolutely. Right now, it's like giving your money. You know, the example that I used to use on Clubhouse when I used to talk about this was, it's like giving you have a property, you need to rent it out. You got one agent shows up, sharp, Tom Ford suit, sharp as hell, drives up in a brand new Mercedes, comes up and says, I'm going to get you $1,000 a month on your property. Cool, that's fine, that's great, thank you very much. Another guy shows up in a beat up old shitty car. He's got a fucking, you know, a little bit of cocaine coming down here, and etc, etc. He's got ripped up clothes, and he goes, you know what, I'm gonna get you a whole $1,030. Like, what? It's just the stupidest thing in the world. Who are you gonna give your property to? Definitely not to the guy that's gonna give you $1,030, because the return is not worth the risk. That's the problem that we have right now. That to me was companies like BlockFi and all these companies offering these lending platforms and services like that. That's what they are at this moment in time, right? Now, in the future, that will change. They will mature. There will be services out there that will be good and structured and safe to use. And that will be amazing, because then I don't need to own any real estate anywhere in the world. I can just use Bitcoin for my cash flow generating asset. Right. And then number 19, easy transfer of ownership. This is extremely important, because if you've got a property portfolio, you've got a stock portfolio, and you're getting to the point of retirement, thinking about how to pass that wealth on to your children, etc., etc., you're gonna have to worry about, how does this wealth get transferred? What happens? Do I need to sell? And then you got governments coming out talking about, you know, they want people to sell a portion of their assets on a yearly basis. They want a net worth tax, all this bullshit. Bitcoin does none of that, right? Firstly, it's so highly divisible. If you need to sell a little bit, you can do in the open market, and it's absolutely fine. And then most importantly, you hand over your keys, the assets get transferred, and you don't need to worry about the legal side of it and lawyers taking the rightful money that's owed to your children. Number 20. There's no property taxes. Why? Because Bitcoin is not a fixed property. It is, yes, it's taxed like a property based on the tax code in most countries, most G7 nations, but it's not a property. I can't put a ring around it because you didn't pay my property taxes. It doesn't work like that. So you can't do property taxes on Bitcoin, whereas you can do them on real estate. That's why Bitcoin's coming for real estate's lunch. And then number 21, finally, future potential. Look, real estate is a mature asset. It is a saturated asset. It's saturated. Every person you talk to nowadays, as soon as any time the market starts going up a little bit, everyone's a real estate coach. Everyone wants to get into property. This is because property is saturated. It is a mature market. Bitcoin isn't. Bitcoin, there's so much future potential for Bitcoin for being used as a corporate asset, being adopted by people all over the world, being used as a cash flow generating asset, being used as a retirement account asset. The future potential of Bitcoin is much, much bigger than the future potential from this point of real estate. And those are the 21 reasons why Bitcoin is going to eat real estate's $326 trillion lunch. And regardless of all of these reasons, you still got to follow the 3 rules of Bitcoin, which is buy Bitcoin. Step number 1, buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.